Let's talk about Mother's Day. Let's talk about it. I start a lot of things with let's talk about. Like I have this let's talk about Sean Bell thing. And happy Mother's Day to Mrs. Bell. Anyway, Mother's Day could be really complicated. I know for myself, it's definitely complicated. But what I really want to talk about is how my mother, who raised me, and actually my biological mother, because I was adopted, how they both greatly influenced my creative life, and my grandmother, who was kind of like a mother to me when I was really young, or at least the closest person to me in the world for most of my life till she passed. These three women, one completely unwittingly, like she, I never met my biological mother, so she had no idea. But the mother who raised me, my mom, she was an incredible storyteller, but she got it from her mother. And her mother, my grandmother, was probably the best storyteller I've ever known. Like I have never known somebody tell stories better than my grandmother. She knew how to start a story, set it up, tell you the problem right up front, then the whole exposition, and then hit you hard with the ending. Like she was an amazing storyteller. She just didn't even know it. Well, maybe she did know it. I don't know. But when there were holidays or whatever, when she was around a group of people, she was just an amazing storyteller. And years later, when theater became my life, I realized that I had learned so much from her. And then after my grandmother passed, my mother kind of fell into that role, and turned out that she was an incredible storyteller, which nobody really knew, until after my grandmother passed. I mean, my mother was certainly not shy, like a delicate floor or anything like that, but she became something different after my grandmother died. And, sorry, got a piece of oatmeal in my tooth. I just got so much from both of them. And the sad thing is that neither of them ever got to see me perform. Because when both of them were alive, I was still in the music business. I mean, they got to see me in music, but they never got to see me in the theater, because they died a long time ago, both of them. And my father also happened to be a great storyteller, but this is Mother's Day. I'm not going to talk about him right now. Mother's Day is a weird thing. I know a lot of what are called first mothers. These are women who were separated from their children when they were babies, either against their will, or they were coerced, or, I mean, I know the narrative is that sometimes a woman does the right thing, what's best for the child, giving it up for a better life because she can't afford it or whatever, she's too young. But I got to tell you, what I've learned over the years is that probably, 95% of the time, that's some bullshit. That's not true. And I know a lot of women whose lives have been just broken from that, from being disconnected from their child. Like for the rest of their adult lives, they've never been able to get over it. It's a pretty difficult thing. So obviously Mother's Day is complicated for them. Mother's Day is complicated for people who are estranged from their kids, for whatever reason. Mother is a very powerful thing, man. Like, I've always said that I just think women are better people than men. Like women, the oppression that they've faced in this patriarchal humanity that we've lived forever is kind of astounding when you think about it, I mean, I know in my family, my grandmother and my mother, they were the matriarchs of the family, and they were above the patriarchs. Like they ran the family pretty much. A mother to me is someone who you can go to for advice, who you could go to for, solace or nurturing, or to be taken care of, who's smart, who's got unbelievable amounts of empathy. And I know not every mother is perfect, and certainly, mothers can be assholes too. But I just think in general, my experience has been the women in my life have been much more powerful, and, much more the people that I've gone to in my life for help, or for guidance, or for peace, support, whatever. You know, it's generally been the women. And I think given the misogyny that has existed, like I said, the resilience is something that we could all learn from. So, I don't know. I didn't know what to do today. You know, I never know what to do on Mother's Day. So I wanted to honor my grandmother and my mother and my biological mother, Judith, who I learned about through ancestry testing. She was responsible for me making an award-winning film and a play. And I've just learned so much through that journey. I've become a better person. I've become broader in my life because of that experience. And, you know, it's something she'll never know, you know. And so I thank her for that too. This woman who birthed me, who brought me into the world. You know, women they literally create life. And that's such a heavy thing when you think about it. So, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. And to, you know, even the ones that don't have children, I still believe that women mother us. You know, they just have something about them that is just like something that a leader has. And I just happen to think they're the best leaders. So it's just me. So happy Mother's Day to Mrs. Bell, to my mom, to my grandmother, to Judith, my biological mother, and to anybody that I know who's a woman, who's grown, who has kids, doesn't have kids, whatever. Happy Mother's Day. See you later.